In Colorado, there is only one place that has the best selection of collectibles: Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics.
For over 27 years, Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics has been the ultimate destination for collectors.
They have a wide selection of hard-to-find coins, action figures, role-playing cards. You can go over there and get yourself a copy of Dominion and sports memorabilia.
Hey, Peyton Manning's a Bronco. I was there yesterday. They have a signed Peyton Manning jersey.
And, of course, they've got comics, which is what I go there for.
All their back issues are half off. On Saturday, all dollar issues are only 50 cents.
And if you sign up for a hold slot, you'll get 20% off graphic novels and comics.
So stop by 6700 Wadsworth Boulevard in Arvada, Colorado, and tell them the Real Nerd sent you.
Comic-Con Episode 4, Fans Hope. Do you love comics, but can't go to Comic-Con? Look no further, because Comic-Con is coming to Colorado. Come have an in-depth look at what goes on inside Comic-Con. All of the good, the bad, and the geeky, right there on the big screen. You even have the opportunity to purchase exclusive items. The only catch is that this event will happen only if the event reaches its attendance threshold. So what are you waiting for? You know you want to be a part of something amazingly awesome? Go and reserve your tickets today. For tickets, go to www.tugg.com/events/703.
Hey everybody, Ryan from Real Nerds here. I'm here with my good friend Joe of Birdman Barbecue. Joe, why don't you give us a little bit of history of Birdman Barbecue?
Well, actually, it's a family recipe been passed down for generations. My wife's dad has it now, and we're just now starting to bottle it up. We've got 2 different flavors, original and spicy, so if you want a nice kick to the back of your throat, try that spicy. And now we've also got a rub, too. So,
You know, Joe, I have to be honest. I love the spicy barbecue, and if you put your rub on burgers with a spicy barbecue, off the chain.
I'm glad that you're being honest, Ryan, because that's what we like, is off the chain.
You know,
Thank you for trying that.
I'm so glad that you like that I said off the chain, because what's even more off the chain is you guys go around Colorado and other places, and you actually enter in contests for your barbecue sauce. Have you won anything?
Yeah, I mean, we've entered our sauce in quite a few contests, and actually we got second place in the Frisco barbecue competition. So for our sauce, just the sauce, that's pretty cool. We've also won, different categories for side items and different things like that. But the sauce winning was the crowning achievement.
And you know what's so cool about being in Colorado is I can go to places around town to pick up the sauce. Where can I get?
Yeah,
the
go to
sauce?
your local area Ace Hardware stores. Check out Ruff's Barbecue in Golden. And then check out your local festivals, Frisco, Dillon. We're hitting up all those this year. So.
And also, I know too, you also run contests on your Facebook page. If you get a certain amount of likes, you always do a free drawing for a free bottle of barbecue sauce. Where can we find you on Facebook?
Absolutely. It's birdmanbbq.com, or on Facebook, I guess it's just Birdman BBQ on Facebook. Check it out. Every 100 likes that we get, we enter everybody that likes us into a drawing for a bucket of barbecue, which is a bottle of each sauce and one of our rubs. So
awesome. So yeah, make sure you like Birdman Barbecue. Check out Joe when he's doing little things around town with Frisco and winning competitions. You know what the barbecue sauce is? Delicious. Welcome to Real Nerds. I am Ryan. To my left is
James.
And in front of me, kind of, is
Brad.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Real Nerds. God, it feels so weird because I have been interviewing so many people this weekend at Comic-Con that doing our actual podcast now is kind of
just sitting
Seems
and
very
casually
foreign.
talking about movies is like, oh, I remember this, man.
Gotta get back into the mindset.
And there will probably never be an episode where we are as tired as we are right now. Because we literally just got out of the con a couple hours ago, went and saw a movie, and now, after all of that, episode,
especially after all of that,
oh man, and how amazing was it? I mean, we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a review at the end of this episode, but we can just say stick around because there's amazing stuff coming up.
Oh yeah, there's. We should, I guess, you know what? Let's unspool some real news, and I'll tell you what you can look forward to in our interviews.
It's real news!
The coolest thing about being at Comic-Con was we went in with not really knowing what was going on. We went in and we had a hard time even getting through the guy on the loading docks to unload our podcast
Yeah.
at the Denver Comic-Con.
It was really cliche because like we got there and he had a clipboard with a list of names on it and literally said the phrase, "Well, your name's not on the list," to us. And we were
Yeah.
like, "Well, then whose names are on the list?"
Yeah, we're with Marvel. So go ahead and let us up.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, it was really surreal. I won't spend too much time on it because we recorded a little bit after the con today.
Yeah.
So you can listen to our recap. But anyways, so I mean, it started really weird. I mean, no one knew who we were. We went in there, and when we got to Podcast Peak, there was no one there.
Yeah.
And so we set up our booth, but or attempted to. We got the media passes, and we were setting up as well as we could. And then finally, after a little bit, people started coming by and saying, "Oh, hey, you guys are really the only ones who confirmed podcast coming here." And so we were kind of excited. And even before the con started, me and James were walking around, and then you kind of branched off. And I don't know where I went, but you went right, and I went left. And you came back when I came back to the booth like giddy as a schoolgirl. And this is even before the con even started. And
This is true.
And James is going, oh my god, I just met Rebecca Isaacs. Oh my god.
I was a little bit smitten. I will admit.
It's okay. And Rebecca Isaacs, for our listeners, and if you were following us on Twitter, she's the artist on Angel and Faith, and she does an amazing job. If you haven't picked up that book, James has told you it's his favorite ongoing series. Make sure you pick it up. And then when you went back and you said, "Oh, you should come over and meet her with me," I said, "Okay," because you had books for her to sign.
Oh yeah.
Before the
I was
con
gonna
even
come
started.
right back over and get stuff signed.
So we went back over there, and I met her, and she's very nice,
Yeah.
a very nice young lady. Which, by the way, you can listen to an exclusive interview with Rebecca Isaacs on Real Nerds Podcast.
Yeah.
We will tweet when that actually happens. Brad has to go through 20-something interviews to get
There's
there.
going to be a whole lot of content coming out, and it's going to take a little bit to actually get it done. But it'll be in the feed eventually for sure.
But the cool thing is when we were talking to Rebecca, we were talking to her, and then we looked to the left, and George's John T. was right there, the artist of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and the kind of like 2 tables down.
no,
right next to her.
They were right next door.
And we told him, "Oh, we really like Buffy too." And through that, we said, "Hey, if you want to talk on our podcast, you should come by." And they said yes.
He was so nice from the very beginning.
Yeah, and it's one of those weird things where people might just say yes, so you leave them alone. You know what I mean?
Right.
But they seemed really genuine.
Yeah.
And then, lo and behold, the next day, here comes Rebecca Isaacs to our podcast table. Not even we went to her to do it. But I guess I should back up, too, because we actually scored an exclusive interview that's really amazing. We went to the open house at Mile High Comics the night before, and completely unaware to me, you or Brad, is Michael Uslan was there. And Michael Uslan is the producer of all the Batman movies, not just...
Are you okay? You're stumbling a lot.
No, I'm fine. And Michael Uslan was the producer of all the Batman films, even going back to 1989.
Yeah.
And he was there talking about his book, The Boy Who Loved Batman. And when he was telling the story, we all kind of got into it. And he talked to Brad beforehand. I said, "Brad, ask him to be on our podcast." And Brad said, no, there's no way he would ever do it. He wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I said, whatever. Well, we can ask him. Maybe he'll do it. He seems like he's a pretty nice guy. And, of course, we didn't think he would do it. And so me and Brad went over there, and we both decided we were going to purchase his book. And he signed a really cool...
Not just to get the interview, of course.
Yeah, not to get the interview.
Yeah,
genuinely-
because the story was so
Yeah,
cool.
I've been meaning to get it. It's just this opportunity arose where it's right here with the actual author. So I was like,
Yeah.
time to do it.
Yeah, and he was so nice, and his stories were so cool that he was telling us. You kind of had to get the book because what he was saying, So Brad went over there, and he got in line first, and he personalized his book, and it was really cool. And the book, if you get a personalized autograph from Michael Uslan, it's Batman's emblem with his name signed in it. And he personalized it. And he puts a couple sentences and saying good luck or whatever he says, or best bat wishes, I think it is. And he was really nice, and he was talking to him. And I went up there and I said, Michael Uslan, it's really nice to meet you. I mean, I didn't know of him the way that he is. I knew, Batman producer. But anyways, so he was... So I was talking to him, and I said, "Hey, was there any chance we're both going to the con, you want to help out a local podcast that really likes comic books?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, I would love to do that. That'd be cool." And, of course, in your mind, you're saying, oh, he's just probably being really nice to us. He said, why don't you get in contact with me? I have a panel on Saturday, and afterwards come and catch me, and then we'll set up a time where we can do it. And he said, okay, yeah, we'll do that because, we'll go see your panel, whatever.
Yeah.
And so then Brad asked him about Batman and Robin and a couple other things, but we won't repeat it because if you want to, you can pick up his book and
he'll explain it in there, or you can listen to something that we're going to post later.
Exactly.
Because we have that interview. We can say,
yeah,
we're going to tease it a couple episodes from now. Hopefully we'll get a little teaser going, but we're going to save it till the Dark Knight Rises episode. And then in that one, you'll actually get to listen to everything that he told us about that movie and about just Batman in the last 30 years and what that's been like.
Exactly.
And by saying that, you just skipped over the cool part of the story.
Yeah,
I
you
was
totally
trying to tell.
skipped over my cool part of my story. So me and Brad went to his
panel.
And before his panel, we went to before it was like Digital Comics or something. So we wanted to get there a little early. So we got 10, 15 minutes early, and we sat down and we're just hanging out. And Brad's just he was writing on his notepad, and he looks kind of too.
I was preparing questions just in case we
because
he didn't remember the interview or something, and
he wanted to get questions while he was talking to us, and
I wanted to listen to his panel to see I don't want to ask him something I already know. It sounds disingenuous. So I was like, okay, cross this off if he says this during the presentation. So
we were doing that, and Brad looks to his right, and he says, oh, there's Michael Uslan. He's coming right in. Like, oh, cool, yeah, there he is. And me and Brad were in the front row.
And he keeps walking and walking.
He kept on walking up, took a left, sat down right next to me, and I said, hey, Michael, do you remember me? He's like, oh, yeah, I'm doing your podcast today.
Unbelievable.
Dude, unbelievable. And I said, oh, if you still have time. He says, oh, yeah, I'm doing a book signing. I have another panel at 5. My book signing's till 4:30. Why don't you meet me at my booth at 4, and then you guys can set up, and then I'll give you guys an interview. And then you just do this.
I dropped the mic.
I dropped the mic. Because it not only is he's really important in comic books, producing-wise, but he's just a really nice guy, and he has such enthusiasm for Batman that was really cool. And
the fact that he totally remembered you.
He remembered us.
Because he was seemingly excited to actually do that.
In his head, he penciled into his head that he had a specific job to do with us the next day.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you listen to his story, which you should really pick up his book, and you'll hear our interview with him, but one of the main things he's always said is if you see any door, take the opportunity. And so I think he kind of saw, and he's like, I'll give these guys an opportunity to be, to interview me. And we got about a little less than 15 minutes with him. And he was really nice and really gracious, and he was a really fun interview. Unfortunately,
he's a great public speaker.
Yeah, unfortunately, Brad couldn't do. He's a big Batman fan. We just didn't have enough time for us to both ask questions. Yeah. So I kind of sat down and asked him the questions that Brad wrote. I really looked off what Brad wrote and asked him the questions.
Yeah. I would just sit there and stutter and waste time. So,
but Brad did ask him a couple great questions, and I put Brad on the spot because I wanted Brad to get in his words with Michael Uslan because he's such a huge fan of Batman. Yeah. But you don't have to be a fan of Batman to like his book, and you don't have to be a fan of Batman to listen to him speak.
Yeah. He also talks about Marvel stuff because he collects all kinds of comics, and he has a rich history with both, all across the industry, even independent stuff. So
the thing I will tell you is next week, or you're probably not going to have time to put in this week, but next week we will have him teasing why Bane is in The Dark Knight Rises, and then on July 20th. When we post our review of The Dark Knight Rises, we'll have the whole interview.
A few days after that.
Well, yeah, a few days after. Yeah. But when we see The Dark Knight Rises and the podcast is available for you to download, we'll have our exclusive interview with Michael Uslan, producer of Batman. Not just producer, executive producer of Batman.
He's more like the sort of warden of movie
Actually,
rights.
he's the godfather.
He's the godfather of modern comic book movies.
Oh, absolutely.
He said, I kind of said it at the beginning, but he made it cooler when he said it.
Yeah.
Because I told him, I said, no, we wouldn't even have anything without you. Because I might not be the biggest fan of the 89 Batman, but you still respect it for what it was. And, I mean, there's still cool parts in it. Don't get me wrong.
It definitely transformed the reception towards comic book movies.
And not only that, and to resurrect it with the Batman he always wanted to see, the Dark Batman in the Christopher Nolan universe, was really cool. And he has some cool little stories. I wish we could have him on for 3 hours because I could just sit there and listen to him talk.
Yeah.
But he shared with us some cool stories, some exclusive stories with us.
But if you can't wait for our podcast, most of it's in his book, which you should go check out. The Boy Who Loved Batman.
The Boy Who Loved Batman. The book is beautiful.
Yeah, it's it's got all these art scans of classic books, and I normally don't laugh out loud when I read stuff, but he's got some really funny stuff in there.
And I will tease you this too about his interview. He tells us why the Joker was Jack Nicholson was cast as the Joker, and what he saw as the Joker, and it's a really cool story. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. Don't say too much.
No, stay tuned for that. Well, so Bane next week. His answer for my Bane question.
Maybe.
Then the full interview.
Might be 2 weeks.
The full interview definitely during The Dark Knight Rises.
And then Rebecca Isaacs and Georges Gianti and Zach Howard. They'll be sprinkled about.
Well,
through the next few weeks. What
are we going to try and have an episode that is just those 3 interviews together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what he'll do is he'll put them in our regular show, and then we'll make one show with just all our.
Once they're all released,
we'll have one show that's just all our celebrity interviews.
Cool.
Yeah. The big Comic-Con interview show.
Yeah.
So now I kind of tease that stuff. Let's go back to our movie podcast.
The real news.
The real news. I had a lot of fun this week at Comic-Con. Please stay tuned for all our other interviews with fans, because we have those too. And stay tuned to the end of this podcast, because we are going to do a drawing for all the stuff we are giving away at the Comic-Con. If you put your name in the hat at Comic-Con with your email address, we will draw your name live in quotation marks on our show, and you can win the barbecue sauce, the movie ticket, the steelbook Dark Knight, or the steelbook Sherlock Holmes. So stay tuned for the end for that. And James, how about we have some movie news?
Well, first we've got the
box office
numbers.
Oh, we do have box office numbers.
Yeah.
See, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
Where it's all just a whirlwind.
Dude,
so a long time ago.
I met one of my heroes. I did the panel with James Marsters. I'm frazzled.
Dude.
So
Tell me
the number
it.
one movie last week is not Prometheus, unfortunately. It was Madagascar. Did $60 million. Prometheus came in second with $51 million, which isn't too bad for an R-rated sci-fi movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it held up really well this week. So.
And one, I'm going to save this and talk about it next week, but I will say it's not too bad for a movie that has as poisonous a small community of naysayers on the internet as it does.
I agree.
There is, I think, a minority of people who really are outspoken about how much they hate this movie, and in, I think, an inappropriate way. But we will talk about it next week.
Also, next week on Blu-ray for some releases, Big Miracles comes out as the Drew Barrymore Well movie. Project X, which I'll never see, is like the kid party movie, from the producer of Hangover or whatever it was. The movie, actually, I think that was really good. That should have done better. Wanderlust, it also comes out next week, and also kind of an indie movie that me and Brad saw. And we kind of liked it. Is Jeff Who Lives at Home. Also comes out next week.
We also get 2 of the FX shows, Wilfred and Season 2 of Louie come out on this Tuesday, which are fantastic. Man, Season 2 of Louie is unbelievable. That's one of the greatest shows of last year.
That's what I keep on hearing.
Actually, one of the best romances I have seen on television. Or at least one of the most romantic episodes I've seen on television. Anyway, I think I talked about it when it happened.
Cool. So what news do we have this week, James?
Well, we've got some DVDs that are getting released as well. Oh, no, we just did that.
I just did that.
I'm sorry.
Look how frazzled we are.
It's insane. It's absolutely
Comic-Con's
insane.
ruined us.
It totally has. Ray Bradbury died. Sad news.
We're
going to start with the saddest news.
You always have sad news. You never tell me uplifting news.
Well,
James, I want you to scour the internet and find something
it's a
happy.
dark
Would you guys
world.
like a joke to uplift you?
Well, let's see. What's the last news we're talking about? Is that fun? Okay, yeah, there's some fun news coming.
Ray
but I'm going to
Bradbury.
start with
there you go.
some dark shit. So yeah, Ray Bradbury died.
That sucks.
Fahrenheit 451.
Classic.
The Martian Chronicles. Yeah, it's really a shame. I sort of in honor of him, I picked up an EC Comics crime suspense stories that's got a story based on Ray Bradbury in it. I saw it and I was just like, I have to have that. It was too cool. And yeah, it's really a shame. But he was old and he'd lived a really good life.
He was and wrote some great stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Bret Easton Ellis wants to adapt 50 Shades of Grey into a movie. Do you guys know anything about this?
I know he wrote American Psycho.
Yeah. But do you know
read that book, not that good.
Do you know what 50 Shades of Grey is?
Yeah.
Yep.
The super erotic. I mean, it's a trashy romance novel. Like they use the word member and shit.
With the Twilight, though, like
yeah, I mean, it's hitting the same Twilight audiences, and it's just exploding for some stupid reason. Well, I mean, for a very specific,
I haven't read it, but I feel like it's the content inside we would not find shocking at all. It's probably anything we've ever heard in a Kevin Smith movie. Yeah. But I think to people who just picked up this classy looking book and started reading it and were introduced to a world they'd never even seen before or read before, it seems shocking to them.
Yeah. I mean,
that's where its press and publicity come from.
I have heard parts of it, and it is, I don't want to say borderline pornographic, but it's along those lines. I mean, it's a trashy erotic romance novel, like, but when they put it on screen, it's not going to have any of that in it, so it's just going to have to stand on the legs of its actual story and characters. And I don't know anything about the book, but I'm going to assume that won't actually hold up. It's weird that Bret Easton Ellis got involved. There was rumors last week about Angelina Jolie wanting to do it, but just the fact that this is a thing, man. I'll tell you this. I won't drag you guys to this one.
Oh, I bet you will. I'm not saying son of a bitch.
I'm not saying we won't end up seeing it, but I won't drag you to it the way that I did Twilight, or will Twilight again. And I think the last bit of sad news is, or interesting for sure. Last week we talked about World War Z and sort of the things that were going wrong with it. The fact that
that was only last week. Fuck.
Yeah, I know.
Seems so long ago.
The fact that they're going back and doing 7 weeks of reshoots with Damon Lindelof's new script, and some news came out this week from some insiders there that points to maybe what that is. And the big one is that Mark Foster, who is or Forster, I should say, who's the director, was the director of Monsters Ball, the director of Quantum of Solace. Not, I don't think, the best track record of movies, in my opinion. This was the first time he'd done anything like this, and it sounds like he didn't have a real clear vision, and so he sort of delegated things to other people, and then when it all came together, and with a real compact shoot schedule, it all just sort of started to fall apart. There just wasn't somebody running the whole ship, and that is a big part of why it's not working.
Yeah, I think I read the article where they said the first hour or so is amazing, and then it just falls apart in the third act.
Man, which is just, that is a crying shame, because having a third act that's good on 2 acts of bad movie can make up for a movie, but building a lot of goodwill and then throwing it away in the last act is actually exactly how I felt about Quantum of Solace. So maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised. Did you guys know that Moby Dick is the new asteroid? Do you know what? There's this thing that happens every few years where a movie comes out about asteroids, and then another movie comes out about asteroids, and we're like, wait, why are all the movies about asteroids? Yeah, this year Snow White. Moby Dick. There are now going to be multiple adaptations of Moby Dick in the next couple of years, probably both of them in 2014. One of them from the guy who wrote Contraband. He's making a script for Timur Bekmambetov, the hardest name to say, the Russian guy who did Wanted and all of that.
And a movie we'll see next week.
Oh, yeah, wow, that's next week? Man. Which, that guy, he's a very visual and bombastic director. Him doing Moby Dick sounds like maybe the worst idea I've ever heard.
Or you can make it really cool. I thought Wanted was really cool.
Yeah, but Moby, I don't know. It seems really weird to me. It's gonna have a giant white whale with tentacles coming out of its eyes and and horns on its spine and shit. Because he's very visual, and that might be really cool.
I still get a kick every time I watch Wanted, and James McAvoy hits that dude in the face with a keyboard, and it says "fuck you" across the screen. That's cool.
The other one is a Chris Hemsworth movie that is not actually an adaptation of Moby Dick, but it is. It's based on In the Heart of the Sea, which is a book about the sinking of the Essex, which is the actual ship that Moby Dick is based on. So it's still a Moby Dick movie, but this one is far more interesting to me. Just a we don't get movies about. I assume that it's going to be fairly, like a timepiece kind of thing, like Master and Commander was. We don't get movies like that very often, and I will see anything Chris Hemsworth does at this point because I just think he's great, even in a bad movie. And yeah, so that is certainly exciting. Did you guys see the little leak about exactly what the connection between Amazing Spider-Man and Avengers was going to be?
I remember reading something about it on Superhero Hype, but I don't remember the context of the story.
It wasn't as cool. Like when we heard that the two studios were talking, the hope was that like there was going to be some shot where like in the background you saw some guy get caught by some web, you know, in one of the big fight scenes. So you're like, oh, Spider-Man's there, but they can't show him on screen. Well, that wasn't it. It was actually just that the CG guys were talking to each other, and they were going to try and post the Oscorp building from Amazing Spider-Man into the wide shots of New York in Avengers. Yeah. But it was like just a couple weeks apart, where the CG wasn't finished on Oscorp yet, and they had to finish the shots on Avengers, and so it just barely didn't happen. But we at least got some closure on that story, because it's still the idea that those two movies were going to cross over was really cool. Maybe in the future, if Sony ever lets those rights go, man,
they never will.
They won't.
No, they won't.
$3 billion in 3 movies.
And how can we even be so greedy? Like in the year that we're getting, hopefully, a great Spider-Man movie and certainly an amazing Avengers movie. With all these movies that build it up, how could I be greedy enough to say like, oh well, you know, it would be nice if we could get Spider-Man in there too. You know, it's a bit dickish, but
they should do it anyways.
Yeah, they totally should. Or at least just let them. Like, you know, especially maybe if if these movies take off and Sony doesn't have to worry about the money, then maybe Sony will have a sense of humor about it and be like, okay, you guys can throw our CG Spider-Man into the background of your movie.
Or you know what? In Avengers 2, you could have Andrew Garfield show up and say, Tony Stark sit down and say, hey, kid, we could really use you on the team. And he said, I'm really not a team player. You can do that. And you don't have to reference that he's Peter Parker. You don't have to say anything else. Just have Andrew Garfield on it.
Yeah. Or
I should make Avengers 2. That'd be the greatest scene ever.
At the Colin Ferguson panel that I moderated, there was a joke in there because somebody asked him about whether or not, now that Eureka's canceled, whether or not he'd show up in a different show. Mm-hmm. And he was saying that he kept pitching that like he should show up just as like, you know, Sheriff Jacques instead of Jack in some other show. So you could do that, you know. Mm-hmm. Just change the name of the character.
Well, don't even mention his name.
Yeah, exactly.
Just have Tony Stark say something to him.
All right, and the very last thing, I don't usually talk about rumors on here because it's just a waste of time. But this came across, and they've been talking about making a Magnificent Seven movie for years, like a remake. But if it had Matt Damon, Morgan Freeman, Kevin Costner, and Tom Cruise in it, I would see that movie opening day, and it would be amazing. Like that, to get those guys into a what I would hope would be a serious Western. You know, I don't want some campy like, hey, we're having fun on the set here. No. You're not having fun. You're getting drunk when you're not shooting and, like, just telling me some serious story and people are sad in this movie. Like, I want a real Western, Unforgiven, but with 7 dudes and it's that cast. Oh,
that'd be sweet.
Yeah.
The Magnificent Seven is what we called ourselves. We rode in the sunset. That's my Morgan Freeman narrating the Magnificent Seven.
It'd be like Ocean's 11, but a Western.
Yeah,
is that not the most
that'd be cool.
Amazing idea
Ocean
for a
7
movie?
In the Wild West?
Yeah, but that's
as I rolled into the Wild Wild West, as I strolled into the Wild Wild West.
Brad, you don't have anything, do you?
Nope.
Cool. I'll make because our whole show is pretty much comic books. I'll make the comic book corner really short this week. I haven't done a Spider-Man book in a while because most of them have been whatever.
Yeah.
They're good, but not good enough. And but this week, Brian Bendis wrote Spider-Men, which is a crossover between the 616 Spider-Man, which is Marvel's canon universe, and Ultimate Spider-Man. But the best part about this book is the first 20 pages are Bendis writing Peter Parker Spider-Man, where he's talking about how much he loves the city and how much, and then the city keeps on yelling mean things to him, and he still has a sense of humor, and he's being funny. And he meets Mysterio in a warehouse, and he says, "Mysterio, why don't you just lay down?" It's really funny, and the book's really good, and the art by Sarah Pichelli is really good in it.
How long has Bendis been off of 616 Spider-Man for a while?
He's never done 616 Spider-Man.
Really?
Besides, like, Avengers books, he's never tackled it solo. He's done team books with Spider-Man in it.
That's incredible to me.
So he's never done a Spider-Man solo.
Because, of course, Ultimate Spider-Man is... I don't want to say amazing because that would be 616 Spider-Man, but it's really
But the book
fun.
is really funny. I think you should, if you like Spider-Man, you should pick it up because it's still pretty good. And Miles Morales doesn't even show up to the last panel.
So if you don't like the current Ultimate Spider-Man, you don't have to worry about it too much.
And just being there just makes me. I mean, I like Miles Morales, but Peter Parker is kind of where it's at. So pick up Spider-Man. It's really cool.
That
story.
art is really amazing. iFanboy picked one of those panels as one of their favorite panels of the week, and I stared at it for a while because
Sarah Pichelli is a really good artist.
It must take her days to do a page.
Oh yeah,
all of the details. Especially the one they picked was this wide shot of New York behind Spider-Man, and I was like, especially after talking to Rebecca Isaacs, I was like, man, that all those little windows and everything must have taken forever.
Yeah. Make sure you pick up Spider-Man. It's really fun. I love Spider-Man.
You do.
I really do.
We know. Yeah. We figured it out by now.
You have.
You know what
wow.
story?
Your wife's making fun of you.
You know what story we have while we're talking about Spider-Man? You know what story we haven't told here on the podcast yet?
Oh, how I got the death of Gwen Stacy.
Well, I guess it's
I don't want people to rob
our,
my house.
It's
Just kidding.
It's in our end of day.
Yeah, it's at the wrap up. But our first interviewees is a couple girls who stopped by. They had another guy with her. His name was Josh, but they're in a group called Not Literally, and what they do is they take top 40 songs and they parody them with Harry Potter themed song, or I guess lyric themed lyrics. And when I interviewed them, I did not know they did this. And then they were telling us how one was a opera singer, another one was a jazz singer or something. And then I put them on the spot and I said, "Hey, sing us something right now." And they did an amazing job. And it was one of the coolest interviews we did with fans at the con. And it was one of my favorites. So, because I'm the host and I do what I want, that will be the first interview that we're going to listen. So, listen to the girls, and not really the guy, he didn't say too much, sing on our podcast for the first time ever. And the group's name is Not Literally. Hi, welcome to Day 2, Denver Comic-Con. I am Ryan of Thrill Nerds. This is my buddy James. The producer down there in the headphones is Brad, so you can blame him for the delay. We are with Not Literally. So can you folks tell us what Not Literally is?
So we're a trio, kind of, if you include our director, producer, filmographer, which we do. And we do Harry Potter-themed musical comedy and parody work. And we're actually going to do more than just Harry Potter pretty soon.
Kind of nerd-themed.
That's what we do. We're the real nerds. But see, you got what's your name? I'm sorry?
I'm Ginny.
And I'm Dana.
Dana?
And I'm Josh.
Josh, I love Harry Potter. This guy can't stand it.
Oh man, you had to throw me under the bus.
Yeah, I had to.
I was gonna try and sneak by.
On our podcast, they gang up on me when we review Harry Potter.
I didn't gang up on you. It's just that movie wasn't very good.
And then last year, when I said that Harry Potter: Deathly Hallows 2 was the best movie of the year,
yeah, you put that over some good movies.
He still won't let it go.
But it super was though.
Thank you so much. And I just don't get it.
I fully respect the fact that you guys really like that.
So,
but, I think you just deserve a better movie than those were. That's what I feel.
Gosh.
I said that on the podcast. You know I did.
You did say that on the podcast. He won't back away. So you guys, do you sing in these, and do you write the music and everything?
We absolutely do. She and I actually used to sing together at the Colorado Renaissance Festival for a couple of summers. We were magical singers.
Nice.
So we've been singing together for a number of years, and she was a jazz singer in college, and I was an opera singer. So we have a lot of musical background.
Wow.
And we actually parody popular music, and most of what we parody is really like awful top 40 stuff.
Awesome.
Because it gets stuck in people's heads.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot here, Dana, but could you sing a parody? You can just sing a few bars or a few notes if you want.
Walk of Shame, probably.
Yeah.
We
can sing
really?
We can sing a verse of.
Awesome.
You'll be the
first. You'll be the first people ever to sing on our podcast.
All right.
So
Walk of Shame is a parody that we did of a cappella of Simon and Garfunkel's "Sound of Silence," and it basically is about the kids of Hogwarts kind of putting in some after hours time in the other doors.
Amazing. I am kind of excited to hear this. In fact, I'm so excited, I'm going to drop my mic so people don't pick up me like breathing heavily or something.
Hello, daylight, my old friend.
I've gone and done it yet again. And in the early morning light I see a Hufflepuff boy sleeping next to me. Last night he seemed cute, but now I'm thinking I was cursed. But it gets worse. It's time to take the walk of shame.
Oh, that was amazing.
And ironically, it's not the only
was too
Walk of
cool.
Shame parody to that song that we know, which is why we flubbed a little bit there. Because we wrote a version that was for the Ren Fair, and it was hysterical.
That
too,
is amazing. And I put you on the spot. No rehearsal, and you sounded beautifully.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I sing in the grocery store.
You know what? That was
Kind of a problem.
awesome. Where can we find you on Facebook? Because I heard, or YouTube as well. I heard you have a big YouTube page.
We have, we're youtube.com/notliterally, just both words together. Our Facebook is also Not Literally, and you can go to our website where you can find all of our social media links, and it's not-literally.com, like with a hyphen in it.
Awesome.
So
and
cool.
July 1st, you're doing the Hufflepuff Pride song.
We are. We actually started out with a Slytherin like House Pride song, and we're trying to do that for all of the houses. And Hufflepuffs get a really bum rap. They're kind of the butt of all of the Potter-related jokes online, and it honestly isn't really fair. Like, they should have something that they can be really proud of too. So
Awesome.
we are giving them an anthem, and we're
You know
really
what?
excited
We
about
can't
it.
wait to do that, and we will put a link on our everything so you guys, because we want to share, because I love it, and I love Harry Potter. My wife loves Harry Potter, so we're really excited. And thank you for taking time to sit down with us. And that was amazing.
Thank
I
you.
can't
Yeah,
even believe
thanks
that just
for
happened.
That
That
was
was so good.
amazing. So thank you so much, and we're sorry that it took so long.
no
but,
worries.
but now that how talented you are, it was totally worth it for me. Thank
bro.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Not Literally, for stopping by the Real Nerds podcast booth at Comic-Con. We really enjoyed your interview. With your passion for singing and how great you sing, it's only a matter of time
They
before
were really amazing, man.
we see you on, you know how they do those those Fathom events at the theater? They'll be on the screen like, oh my gosh, that was them. Remember when they're on Real Nerds podcast and they're famous and we're not?
You know who they really reminded me of was Garfunkel and Oates. Even like visual, there was a tall blonde girl and a shorter, dark-haired girl, and they were singing
It's Simon
parody
and
songs.
Garfunkel. Come on, dude.
Well,
No,
no,
Ryan's not familiar with the
no.
comedy duo.
There is a comedy troupe called Garfunkel and Oates, and it's
Oh,
a couple.
really?
It's yeah.
Two comedian girls
It's
who
two,
sing.
it's two women who sing really funny songs. Yeah,
Ryan's out of the loop.
yeah.
I'm
well,
out of
because
the-
they sang a Simon and Garfunkel song. Is
They
why
did.
is
Yeah.
why he got confused. Yeah.
Um,
Anyway,
but God, what if
It was
they do
really
become
cool.
bigger than us?
that would be fine. Then they could retweet us, and we would get popular.
They're talented. It's all right.
Yeah.
Remember us when you're famous?
Please. Remember where we played your song on our podcast. Just remember. So I watched this week a couple things. I rewatched Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because we've been talking about it. Still not as bad as I think people say it is. I actually still enjoy the movie. The parts are still goofy. But
Yeah,
even the nuke and the nuke town and him flying through the. I don't even think it's that bad.
Yeah, I don't think that movie is as bad as people say. I think that they.
What are you counting over there? How many times it said nuke?
No, I was trying to figure out because I was plotting what I was going to say, but since I'm talking now, I'll just do it. I was like,
Well, you're counting in your hands. I didn't know what you were counting.
yeah, I was trying to think. Is it like it was a 20-year hiatus since Last Crusade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2008.
No.
A little before, like
19 years?
1992 to 2000.
No, 89 was Last
19
Crusade.
Yeah, 89.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It's the
Oh,
year
I
of
thought-
Batman and Lethal
Oh,
Weapon
okay.
2 and
Yeah.
UHF.
Yeah, 19
Oh, you're right.
So yeah, 19 years, whatever, 20. So after that much of an absence of Indiana Jones, you want him to come back in something that's a little familiar. So you kind of want to see him in the era fighting Nazis.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of feel. Like I don't feel like Crystal Skull is a bad movie at all. It does have its goofy parts, but it's like if you're hungry for Indiana Jones, you want to see him doing the classic stuff. And this is just like I think this would have been a better movie had it come after that as a story.
I definitely have that part of me, but George's idea behind it's been 20 years in our world. It's been 20 years for Harrison Ford. It should be 20 years for Indiana Jones, and in 20 years of pulp fiction between when they were writing those serials that Indiana Jones is based on. 20 years after that, what they were doing was space sci-fi stuff. And the idea that he infused it with that, and I mean, the Crystal Skull myth is a real myth. Yes, it's space aliens, but when you put space aliens next to dude who rips your heart out and God, I think that I think that they are on an equal playing field as far as myth. My problem is that I think a lot of what was fun about the Indiana Jones movies gets sucked out when you rely on CG as much as that movie does, and when you just sort of amp things up and misinterpret what we loved about that. I didn't need to see a whole bunch of ants eating people because the snakes in the first movie and the rats in the third one and the bugs in the second one. I didn't need that to happen. That isn't actually a trope of Indiana Jones. The fun fight sequences and him getting beat up and sort of his wit, and him always being able to just barely get out of tough situations. Those are the actual tropes of Indiana Jones. Lots of bugs or some of the other just like ridiculous stuff that happened in that movie. It was just a little bit too far.
What the hell?
Jesus Christ, you scared the hell out of everybody.
Oh my God.
And it's still crawling around.
Why didn't you just squish it?
Jesus Christ almighty. Oh man. Anyways,
where were we? That's okay.
Ryan, that spider was here to infect you and give you spider powers, and you just destroyed it.
I did. I don't know. I kind of disagree. I think the fight with the ants was actually pretty fun when he was, fighting them, and
he's just running away from him.
Well, he fights them, and the Crystal Skull goes all around him, and they carry that one guy into the anthill, and they eat him.
Yeah.
Then they go to the river, and I like that
3 times it falls.
Marion is back in it. I thought it was lots of fun.
I love having Marion back.
And even Shia LaBeouf is pretty funny because he always whipping out his comb to comb his hair. And the Greaser and Jock fight made me laugh. And
I love Mutt Williams. I love the that fight and like the car chase that ensues after it is amazing.
It is.
Like that is exactly what I wanted out
and
of
see,
another
at the end of
Indiana
that
Jones movie.
chase when Indiana Jones says, if you ever want to be a great archaeologist, get out of the library.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of stuff about that movie that I think is great and that I think is exactly what I wanted. It's just that there's too much swinging with the monkeys.
It's only like a minute.
Yeah, but like that I honestly I think that entire car chase is really crappy.
It looks like the people are floating on the cars sometimes.
Exactly. You know, whereas if they had shot, Death Proof style, a real car chase with some real cars in situations that were not as outlandish as that, it would have been more thrilling. And it would have felt more like Indiana Jones.
No, I agree.
That's the heritage of those movies.
The worst part I actually think of that car chase is there's a couple shots of Cate Blanchett's character where the background you could totally tell is this green screen, like the lighting isn't right in it.
Yeah. Part of me wonders if, with the technology they had, they were trying to make it too much like what's the word for it? Pulp movie?
Yeah.
There's another word for it. I'm blanking right now. But
like a pulp cereal.
They're trying to use like really high-tech devices and technologies to replicate that style of movie making, because I feel like a lot of the movie looks like it's on a soundstage, but it's actually a green screen.
Yeah.
Even like when they're sitting in the pit of quicksand, it's like the jungle ends 5 feet away.
Yeah.
But that's just, it's a green screen.
Yeah.
And why couldn't they just go to a jungle? It's Spielberg. They have endless resources to do whatever they want.
Well, they shot some of it in Hawaii, so I don't know.
Yeah, like there are some real location stuff, but still,
that's what I mean. Yeah,
it's like those close-up shots. I know it's easier to film that way, and a lot of the actors are older, and getting all those people together is probably really tough. But still, I know it's supposed to look fake, but the charm of the other movies is that they're homaging an era while also making it better at the same time.
Oh yeah.
like updating its own technology. I don't.
Yeah, and that's fine. And
I think part of it is, especially over the last few years when Spielberg has actually started talking about it, I feel like I watch that movie and I don't see him having fun. It's certainly not the way that when I watch Warhorse or Tintin, I feel like even through his visuals, I'm like, yeah, okay, here's Steven Spielberg really doing what he loves. I watched Crystal Skull, and it's maybe been 8 months or so since the last time I saw it. And I just don't see that. I don't. Maybe that's just me bringing that. I'm sure it probably is, but I don't know. Just the way he's talked about it, I don't think he loves that movie the way he would like to.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. Everybody has their opinion. I don't think it's as bad as people think it is.
And I don't think it is either, because people really bitch about that movie.
They do.
But
did you ever hear about what Frank Darabont wanted to do with his script? Indy was supposed to track down ghosts. It was like a ghost hunting movie, which I thought was actually kind of cool, but it could suffer the same syndrome that Crystal Skull had, which, like you said, logically, Indy 20 years later, like that's the pulp. The sci-fi was the kind of material they were dealing with, like at his age, so in the 50s. So
cool.
I also saw a cinematic classic that I was really happy that I finally got a chance to see. It's called Ginger Dead Man 3. Saturday Night
Netflix?
Cleaver.
No, it's not.
Where'd you see this at?
Yeah, it was on Netflix, and I know I've never seen Ginger Dead Man 1 or 2.
So how did you know what was going on?
You don't. I'm not even joking. The movie starts off as a parody of Silence of the Lambs.
What?
They have a girl, not Clarice. Her name was Claire Barling or something instead of Clarice Sterling or whatever.
Starling.
Starling. And she goes to the Institute of Homicidal Baked Goods. And inside this Institute of Homicidal Baked Goods is the Ginger Dead Man and a cream puff that's French and kills people. I don't even remember the other ones. A croissant who kills people. And
does one of them like throw bodily fluids at her?
The cream puff does, yes.
Oh gosh.
But
right, because it's a cream puff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gross.
And I can't even. So she literally goes in there and she's trying to figure out. I don't even know what she's doing there, talking to the Ginger Dead Man.
Yeah.
But somehow he gets out, and he's this terrible puppet that is the size of a gingerbread cookie, and
like a hand puppet.
Yeah, like a hand puppet.
There's a hand. Oh, wow.
Yeah, but it has really terrible like face, and it's not like you could tell it's like some dude cut foam to look like a gingerbread man, put some eyes on it that blinked, and moved his hand to talk. And
Laura's seen the first one.
Yeah, Gary Busey was not in this one because the Ginger Dead Man talked like this. He's like, "No, I got to get out of here." Well, fuck that. And he as he's running through this, sounds like a trauma movie. He's running through this institute that happens to have a time travel machine, and he gets sent back in time to a roller skating rink.
Wait,
that
he went back like
to the
20
70s.
years?
To the 70s. No, like 30 years to the 70s.
Okay.
And he's in a roller skating rink, and they're having like a dance off, and then it goes into a Carrie parody where the girl's name is Cherry, and she has telekinesis powers. I kept on watching it, and so because I'm waiting for some like cool kills, and like not really.
This one dude, anything worthwhile.
Yeah, this one dude's taking a piss, and the Ginger Dead Man cuts off his ankles until they break, and then he pulls out guns and knives from somewhere.
How does he hold them? Because he's a puppet, like he's got hands.
Yeah. And then they keep on recycling the same CGI shot of him running across the disco floor, and it's always like boom, 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 and you just see his feet running across. And they recycle that shot maybe 10, 15 times.
Oh, wow.
And it gets better. So he's killing all these people, and at the end, these kids find his remote control that goes back in time. And the kids go away for a while, and then they come back, and they brought friends with them. They brought Adolf Hitler, Lizzie Borden, Charles Manson, Jeffrey Dahmer.
And their whole point is to kill the gingerbread man by ripping him apart and putting him in a cookie jar. And then
these kids' idea was to go get not like the bravest or strongest or most heroic people of all time, but the most psychotic, unreliable, uncontrollable maniacs of all time.
Exactly, and it didn't make any sense
bring
because
them to eat a cookie.
Why would they only attack the gingerbread man? It didn't make any sense. And then the gingerbread man killed all these people on the dance floor with like electricity. And then the kid said, "Don't worry." We went back in time before all this happened, and they all just stood up like their souls left and came. I don't know why I watched this.
I actually would love to see the scenes that they obviously didn't shoot where like the kids go to Hitler and are like, "We would like you to come to 1990. You know, we want to come get you because, of course, you lose World War II. We're going to come. We want to take you to 1998, maybe 2006. When was the movie made?
Probably 2010.
Whoa, gosh.
It's pretty new.
We're going to take you to 2010, and we want you to kill a cookie. And I would love to see his reaction.
No, the cookie is in the 70s. Remember, he's at...
Oh, that's right.
He's at a disco. Saturday Night Cleaver, guys.
Yeah. So I would love to see his reaction when he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to come to the future and help you with whatever bullshit you're talking about. I have no ulterior motives to, take over the world again in the future." That would be a great movie, though.
Yeah, so I guess my new thing is I find some terrible horror movie on Netflix and force myself to watch it. So Thanksgiving and Ginger Dead Man 3, Saturday Night Cleaver, And the last thing I watched was I got Game of Shadows, Sherlock Holmes, and I watched it actually twice. I watched it with Robert Downey Jr. hosting Maximum Movie Mode, which, if you know, it's my favorite feature on Blu-rays. If you watch Blu-rays, what they do is the movie will be playing, and all of a sudden the scene will still be going, but then, like in the Game of Shadows, Robert Downey Jr. comes walking forward and he says, "Hi, I'm Robert Downey Jr. I'm supposed to talk to you about this movie, but how you doing? You looking good?" "Yeah, great. Well, I'll be back." And then it goes right back to the movie. And then he comes back when he fights those guys at the beginning, and he actually tells a lot about the genesis for the story, and he's really involved in the story. And he's obviously the inspiration was for the first time Holmes met Moriarty, and they fought and they fell in the waterfall and things like that. So it's really cool. I liked the movie, and seeing it with the Maximum Movie Mode is always really cool.
Would you say the Maximum Movie Mode is better than a commentary? Like if it were Robert Downey Jr. doing a commentary?
I guess not, because if you did a commentary, you'd be talking through the whole movie.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about Maximum Movie Mode 2 is, so they'll have a scene, case in point, when they go to the auction and they're talking, Robert Downey Jr. and Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
And on the screen will be the movie, and then in the bottom right they'll have the shot without any CGI or any of the little extras they have in it. So they'll have like a second screen, and you can see how the process of them making the movie happens. The part where they meet Stephen Fry, his brother, and they're in that car, they'll have the bottom shot, it's all green screen, and it's just those three guys walking through the littlest set, and it's pretty interesting. But I wish, it would be funnier if he was on the whole commentary. But
yeah,
but it's a cool thing they do.
Cool,
and that's it.
Brad, what did you watch this week?
Not a lot. I was preparing for Comic-Con, so
yeah, that I understand.
I just kept watching the Batman the Animated Series episodes, and
nice.
I'd hit play all, fall asleep during the first one, and so the next night I put on that same one again to rewatch it, fall asleep through it again. Try it again the next night, get maybe 2 ahead, fall asleep during the third one. So yeah, I'm still on disc 2 of the first volume.
Wow, made a lot of progress in a week.
Yeah, we talked about it before. The episode's really good.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if did I talk about the Two-Face episode last week?
Yes.
You said you're going to watch it. You haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I finally got all the way through both parts, and like I said, I wish there was a premium HBO Batman, HBO quality Batman show, not necessarily on HBO.
Yeah, I don't want an HBO Batman. They will put too many boobs in it. That sounds weird.
Oh,
I know.
dude, but Bruce Wayne slays chicks.
Yeah, he does.
No, I don't want that Bruce Wayne. I don't want,
he's got to do something to round out 13 episodes. Can't just be in a cowl the whole time.
Can't just, capture one villain an episode. Nobody wants that.
I forgot there were some other episodes that were really goofy, like Bruce Wayne is trying to track down where these missing homeless shelter workers are disappearing to. And he ends up getting knocked out and taken to where they're going to. He loses his memory in the process.
It's like a workers' camp. I remember that one.
Yeah, and then there's the villain of that is just this big fat guy who eats a lot, and he's tells everyone that they're lazy and they need to work harder, and like, I want double gold, and he's like munching on a chicken leg the whole time. It's like, this guy's villainous power is that he's fat and super hungry.
I do remember that one.
Yeah, and then there's a really good one with the Joker where the mayor vows to like rid the city of crime or whatever, and he hates Batman's vigilante antics, and then the Joker he says like Batman is just as bad as all the villains like the Joker, and the Joker's watching the news and he's like, compare me to Batman, how dare you? So he shows up to the mayor's son's birthday party and
great.
tries to kill all the debutantes. And then the kid ends up like getting interested in the Joker. Like, oh, the Joker's like a cool guy that I should be friends with. So he sneaks into the Joker's ice cream truck and follows him back. And when the Joker finds out that he followed him back, he's like starts training him to be his protege. And then, of course, obviously, the kid learns that he's made a horrible mistake, and luckily, Batman was
a great one.
Tracking him down the whole time.
Does he take him back? Is that the one where he goes back to the carnival?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great episode.
Yeah. So
I didn't talk about this last week when we talked about this, but there's a snippet of information that I learned from, or at least I think I learned from that show that has haunted me my entire life, which is that there's an episode where you end up finding out that the Scarecrow has captured him and has had him the whole time, but it's this episode where like Bruce Wayne isn't Batman. Like, he doesn't know, he can't figure it out, but he's going through life and he isn't Batman. None of the Bat stuff is where it's supposed to be, and he can't figure it out. And at the end, he realizes that Scarecrow has got him like asleep, and he's like torturing him and doing stuff to him. Or at least I'm pretty sure it was Scarecrow. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Vaguely familiar. I might have watched that,
Yeah.
but it's not been on the episodes I've watched yet.
But the thing is, at the end, or one of the things that helps him realize it is that in a dream you can't understand words. Like, you can't read words in a dream.
Yeah. I have seen the episode, and that I took that as a true thing, and I've been like living my life by the fact that
oh my god, so you and I have had the same life.
When I do see words in my dreams, I'm like, how can that be? They said on Batman the Animated Series that's not possible.
I actually wake myself up. If I have a dream where I start to see actual words, I will realize that I think they're starting to form words, and then they will jumble themselves like they do in that episode, and then I'll wake up. Honestly, it's happened to me dozens of times.
Look what cartoons have done to our minds.
It's crazy.
Altered our subconscious.
Oh, man. And yeah, it's bugged me my whole life. I assume it's not true, because I've never seen it anywhere else. I've looked it up on the internet.
Yeah.
But it sounds so true. Like, that's what's so cool about it. It sounds like something.
It was so convincing in that
true.
episode.
Yeah.
Like, if Batman says it must be true.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like, that part of your brain is off.
Kevin Conroy just has the most amazing voice. And it's the voice of reason.
Yeah.
No, I do remember that episode, too.
Because
he, opens a newspaper or something and can't
exactly.
read it. Yeah.
And then all the words are jumbled. He's like, what's going on?
Cool. And then there's, like, the way they introduce some of the characters, like, in their timeline, Harvey Dent is dating Pamela Isley, and then that's her whole introduction to the series is, she tries to kill Harvey Dent, and then a bunch of characters like Scarecrow, Poison Ivy, obviously Two-Face comes along pretty soon after that. Like, I always just remember them always already being villains. Like, the Joker's already a villain. But I guess also because of their volume sets, all the episodes are out of order. So maybe, yeah.
Why did they do that? That's weird.
I know, it's annoying.
Yeah.
Now I got to go online and figure out how they aired and start watching them that way. And then I also got a chance to finally see one of the movies I've been waiting all year to see, and that was Moonrise Kingdom.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And it has become my favorite movie of the year.
Shocking.
So far. Oh, really? Is it that shocking?
No.
There's no chance it could have been bad?
No, there was definitely a chance it could have been good, but the word coming out of it was,
Yeah, I'm not that shocked.
The reviews online were pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is it? I have heard rumor that there is some it's something of an allegory about film and filmmaking. Is that true?
That's something I did not catch, or
Okay.
if I I don't think
It was
I would pay
something
attention to it.
I just gleaned it a little bit from an article that I didn't want to read because I didn't want spoilers. But I could just be completely misinterpreting that. But
Yeah, I don't know. I have to think about it. To me, I just kind of saw the movie on the surface as this cute story of two children who, fall for each other, and how the town, the boy has no parents because he's an orphan, and the scout troop that he is in doesn't like him, so that's why he wants to run away. And then this girl has some screwed up parents, Frances McDormand and Bill Murray, are like passive aggressive to each other so much that it's fracturing their kids' lives.
yeah,
But they're supposed to be these super smart lawyers that can handle anything except their own marriage. And then Bruce Willis is this lonely police officer, the only one on the island, who's just kind of given up on life because everything hasn't worked out for him, and he's sleeping with the mom, and that's why there's like this unspoken destruction in the family.
Mm-hmm.
So through these two kids running away together, it kind of brings everyone together to kind of solve everyone's problems, and eventually they realize like why are we trying to go after these kids? Because what is wrong with them loving each other? Like, we're just following these pre-programmed things like, oh, we got to go save, our kids are lost, we got to go save them. But it's probably better off for those two kids that they just go off on their own, and kind of proves that way. And it's really sweet how it wraps up.
Cool.
You think it's going to go one way, and then it's like, oh, of course, that's how it should be for them.
Very cool.
It's a very sweet movie, and I recommend it highly.
I'm gonna have
Check
to
it
check
out.
it out. Yeah,
Check
absolutely.
it out at some point.
And of course, that same day they were playing the Royal Tenenbaums at the Esquire. So
Did you see that?
I
Too?
saw that a couple hours later.
Cool.
Yeah, and
Still
of course
good?
that's a classic. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. So anyway, James, what did you see?
Well, early last week I saw The Last Waltz on Blu-ray, which is the Martin Scorsese movie about the band. It's about when the band was deciding to break up.
Wait, which band?
The band.
What are you talking about? What?
The band? The band.
Can you be more specific, James?
Yeah.
I totally know what he's talking
The
about, and
band.
I'm making him up.
Yeah.
There's
so
a band called The Band.
Yes, and they're at the show.
That's arrogant.
The band is at the show, but who isn't here? So yeah, when the band was breaking up, they did this last show, which they referred to as The Last Waltz, and they got all of their cool friends to be in it. Eric Clapton, Bob Dylan, Neil Diamond, a whole bunch of amazing performers, and it's directed by Martin Scorsese. But that doesn't really matter because it's basically a concert film, really. Like, he does some little bits of interview, but maybe my biggest disappointment about it is that he doesn't really talk about the band or tell any of their stories or anything like that. Like, there's some fun moments in it, but mostly it's just the music is really good, man. Some of it's not amazing, some of it doesn't quite hold up, but and unfortunately it's one of the worst performances from Bob Dylan I've seen.
He's not good live. I think he's terrible.
Yeah, well, and it was during his really druggy years, and so you could just sort of tell that he got up there and was just sort of it just wasn't great.
Well, I saw
Eric
him,
Clapton Eric Clapton was about the same. Like, Eric Clapton was good because Eric Clapton is always good, but it was the same kind of thing. My dad was really disappointed by it because he's like, you could tell he's on drugs and not really there.
I saw him about 8 years ago. A friend of mine got tickets for us when I worked at Outback.
Mm-hmm.
And here, I'll do my Bob Dylan for everybody.
Oh, good.
So let's say he's introducing the next song. Oh, this next song is I'm really proud of this song. Anyway, let's just not do it. You're like, wait, this sounds like every other song that he's ever made.
I love Bob Dylan in his folk years.
I love Bob Dylan as a songwriter. As a singer, he can go away.
The big one was just the guys in the actual band. Like, those guys were amazing. There's one song they do with Van Morrison that is absolutely amazing, and I hadn't listened to the band in years, And what I had listened to was mostly just the greatest hits and stuff, and it made me go out and find some of their other songs because those guys were crazy talented. And so if you're into that kind of a movie, you should definitely check it out. It's a little ironic that I saw it this week since we ended up seeing Rock of Ages. But it was really interesting. I also spent a lot of time watching Eureka this week because I was hosting or moderating the panel for Colin Ferguson. I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's over now, so I can. Basically, going into this, I really hated Eureka. It's a show that I think wants to be Doctor Who, but it's so campy that I think it ignores a lot of its characters and never tries to get any deeper, and none of the actual adventures that they go on in every episode feel fun or grounded in anything.
Are you gonna fall asleep,
like
Brad?
they just make as many excuses as they can for the
Are
show.
you gonna fall asleep?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I'm just gonna keep going.
No, that's fine.
If you guys fall asleep, I'm gonna keep going.
My eyes are just dry.
Yeah. But here's what I will say. When I had formed that opinion, I had only seen season 1, a little bit of season 2. And then because I was doing this panel, I skipped forward, started watching season 4, and watched almost all of season 5 up to where they are right now, where it's airing. And I think the show gets better, but I still will never watch it again. But Colin Ferguson is unbelievable. He is so funny.
I will say
so
that
much fun.
I went to James's panel. Me and James are the only ones who went to each other's panels. My wife didn't come to my panel.
He's so bitter about it.
So I walked in, and the room had such great energy, and he was so funny. And I don't know anything about a show.
Yeah.
I've never seen a single episode. I don't even know what it's about. But he would tell the funniest stories about how he, would leave doors open so he wouldn't have to use his key to get into the studio anymore, and he got in trouble, and they emailed him the videos of him leaving the doors propped open because he was out of control. But it was really funny,
and he's a nice guy, and on the show I think he's really the saving grace.
And he almost stole James's cell phone.
Yeah,
because
as a joke.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was. But he really is he's really funny, and because everybody else on the show is supposed to be a genius, he is supposed to be our window into into this world. But I think he's the only thing that actually ends up working on the show. It's almost worth watching every now and then when it's on TV just for him. I will say that.
Can I say my favorite part of the panel that you were at?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I was there, I never heard James ask a question. I missed the very beginning, and he's going around, and then James, about, I don't know, halfway through, turned to him and said, Colin, isn't it true that you're now a producer on the show? And Colin Ferguson stopped, looked at James, and says, you know what, James, that was a really great question, and I'm going to answer that for you. Yes, I am now a producer of the show. And it was just so funny because I don't know, you had to be there, but the way he said it was just...
It was a follow-up question. The guy before had asked about directing and acting at the same time, and I thought that was it was interesting, but maybe I've heard actors talk enough about what it's like to direct the show that they're on before, and so that to me was not as interesting. But the moment when an actor becomes a producer on that show, it was one of the things that it was one of my questions I had lined up that I didn't ask because I wanted the fans of the show to actually ask as many questions as they could. So when I had that opportunity, I wanted to throw it in there. And it was really interesting because basically what he said was that the day he became a producer, when he came in the next day, every time he would ask for something or every time he would say hey, this is the way we should do this, people would just say okay, and then they do it. And he was like, well, wait a second, my ideas haven't gotten better since yesterday. Nothing's really changed, but it gave him so much more power, and especially because I had made a little joke at the beginning about, because I had told him when I met him that I had never done a panel before. In fact, what we figured out in the car, I've never been to a panel before. First panel at a con that I'd ever been to is the one I moderated.
You did a great job.
Yeah. I did an okay job for somebody who never actually talked, but... when he got up there, he said something about well, do you have any questions? And as a joke, I said, I really liked your work on Becker. What was it like to work with Shawnee Smith? And he looked at me and he smiled and went, well, I'm going to go ahead and answer that for you. And I was like, no, because I thought, no, there are fans of this show here who want to talk to you about that. They're going to be so pissed at me that I made you waste 2 minutes talking about your work on Becker. But it was actually a really interesting thing because he talked about how working under Ted
Danson's
Danson.
a dick.
No, that's not what he said. He said it was amazing and that it was cool to work on a show where that guy sort of took people under his wing and really tried to help them. And then later, now I'm going to make it sound like I had this all planned out. But when I asked that question about him being a producer, I almost at the end wanted to be like, hey, so you turned into Ted Danson. Because he said once he became a producer, he could do that for other people. He could, when they felt like they needed something, he could get it done for them. So I didn't point it out at the panel because that would be really hubris. But I can point it out here because this is my podcast. Well, it's Ryan's. But anyway, I watched Eureka and I won't watch it anymore. And the last thing, I'm still watching David Mamet movies, and I found there's another fun actiony one that I could watch before I have to get into the dramas. And it's Red Belt, which was a movie that came out a couple years ago with Chiwetel Ejiofor, the coolest name in Hollywood. And it's that movie about the guy who runs like a jiu-jitsu what do you call it? Studio thing, and he teaches cops how to do like all this defensive stuff. And I don't want to say that it meanders, but it doesn't have like a strong driving force. You just feel like you're in with this guy and you're watching as a couple of different storylines are going along, and they all sort of run into each other at the end and intertwine in a really cool way. I think it's actually really cool. I wish I'd gone back and watched the trailer again because I remember watching it and thinking like, this is weird. I don't want to see this. I don't know what it is. It just seemed like a weird offshoot, like wanted to be indie kind of movie, but wasn't. And it's actually, I think, really emotional and fun. Not the best David Mamet movie I've seen, but a lot of the dialogue is still great. So I would say somebody should check it out at some point.
You were all over the place on your review of that movie.
It's
not that good, but it was emotional and it was pretty fun. Yeah. I really didn't like. You probably shouldn't see it, but I like the dialogue.
No. Okay. You should.
Should we see this movie or not, James?
Yes.
Well, you should probably see it, but unless you don't want to watch it.
Oh man, what a week. Yeah, no, you should check out Red Belt. I was pretty impressed with it.
Okay.
It surprised me. I'll say that for
Okay.
sure. And that's everything that I watched this week.
Or not.
Did you pick up on that too, or is it?
You're right. I was doing it,
I did kind of
like,
tune out. I was like, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah, okay.
But
That
whatever.
just wasn't me.
I'm gonna let Ryan deal with it.
Cool.
Man.
So this week we saw two movies. So the first movie we saw is Rock of Ages. And Brad, should people go see Rock of Ages?
I feel like movies that are corny as fuck.
James, should people go see Rock of Ages?
Here's what I will say. If you're one of the people who really likes a show like Glee, then you'll love this movie. Straight off. If you
Except my
wow.
wife.
Okay, well,
Laura loves Glee.
Objection.
Okay, I'll take that back then. Wow.
You're right, James. I don't know what she's weird.
I think that this show is very much up the Glee alley.
Yep.
It's not really a musical. What I will say is that I think that there is some really cool stuff in this movie. I think that some of the story that they're trying to get at
should people see it or not?
Could be really fun. Wait a minute, hold on. I am actually building to something. But I think there's too much music in this movie. I think that they...
Oh, wow. I disagree, but go on.
Yeah, no. I think that there aren't characters in this movie because instead they choose to go and get these songs that they think people will find toe-tapping while they watch the movie, and then shove characters into them and adapt the movie around those songs rather than actually have characters built on dialogue and action, which is what makes us interested in them. If they strip some of the songs out of the middle so that they're there were just a handful of songs, a song at the end, that would be fine. Or in a better world, it would actually be a real musical.
Can you save your review for after the
Yeah,
trailer?
are you going to tell us if we should see the movie or not?
Right. Yeah. No, you shouldn't see this movie. I'm sorry. I'm losing my mind.
You're losing your mind.
I'm
You
losing
know
my
you're just
mind.
supposed to tell people to see the movie or not. Just start talking about the movie.
We'll
Nah.
explain why in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa, hang on. Your cord is freaking out. I can hear it. Start talking to it again.
Yo.
Something about something hitting something just made it distort.
Is it okay now?
It's good now.
Okay.
I think
No,
the movie
people
was
should not
pretty
see it.
cool, and for the most part.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why after we hear the trailer.
Tonight, the Bourbon Room, Stacy Jacks. This place is about to become a sea of sweat, ear-shattering music, and puke. So start drinking now. No. Now go.
Your first album gave birth to some of rock's greatest anthems. What's it like to be the Stacy Jacks?
Stacy, you made it.
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
No, this is Hey, man.
Hey, man.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be Stacy Jacks.
You're a singer, and you have real talent.
That stage is a pedestal. When you're up there, you're untouchable.
This club is totally out of control.
Our whole existence is riding on Stacy Jacks.
We're gonna shut them down.
Oh my God, I just threw up. Where? In my pants.
You want love? Go after it. I can guarantee you something more cool. Fame.
If you want to get respect, you got to take that stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, the icon of rock, Stacy Jacks.
I'm gonna light this place on fire.
Stacy Jacks, he gives until it hurts.
So since we've already heard James's review of Rock of Ages, the basic story is a girl from Oklahoma is trying to make it big in Los Angeles. It's a story you've heard 100 times before.
And the movie knows it.
And the movie knows it. The movie tonally is really bizarre.
Right off the bat, like everybody singing on the bus was just like, this is cheesy.
And singing a song that they don't know what it means. The what that song is about is not what she's doing.
It's not, but I think they chose those songs just to fit the story, or they wrote the story based on what those songs could mean.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. And that was my big problem.
Yeah, and that's what you were talking about earlier. And yeah, and you're right though, Brad. It was really corny at the beginning because you have the bar back at the Bourbon
Room,
who is, what song were they singing? Nothing But a Good Time by Poison.
Yeah.
As you're introducing to all these characters, Russell Brand and Alec Baldwin and whoever that dude was. And then the girl gets a job there. And for me, the movie really didn't pick up until Tom Cruise showed up.
Yeah.
And there's what I loved about his performance, and I'll tell you, is he has a persona about him already, and so he's able to play this rock star really well. But when the Constance from Rolling Stone, Malin Ackerman, interviews him and kind of breaks away who he is,
Tom Cruise as an actor is amazing because she hit a nerve with him, and all of a sudden he changed his character and became a real person instead of this rock and roll guy who has to have sex. And it was to me, I thought it was an amazing performance. And then all of a sudden it got really goofy again, tonally. And then Tom Cruise kind of went back to it because he's kind of dark in it, where you don't understand what he's saying. And I actually laughed out loud a lot of parts when he first met when he introduced himself again to Alec Baldwin's character, because they got to start there, and he's talking about the phoenix rising from the fire, and he's going to burn the place down to the ground. Was, I thought, an amazing bit of dialogue, and how they played it was really well. But yeah, then it would go back to their love story, and it would be really bizarre. And then it'd go back to Tom Cruise trying to re-find his rock roots as Stacey Jacks. And then it'd go to him like trying to sleep with as many women as he could. And then it'd go to him doubting himself because of this interviewer. It was really weird.
The movie starts out like leading you on that you're going to follow the story of this girl coming to Hollywood and all the people she interacts with, but it ends up following a storyline for each and every character so that everyone has their own arc instead of just hers. And hers and the guy she meets at the Bourbon Room is the big overall one, but everyone kind of gets their own due.
Yeah.
So...
But most of their story is told through these like crummy interpretations of songs that makes all those characters so shallow, and it makes their character building feel really corny, because it's like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be having fun at this song that we've heard 1 billion times, but I guess try to get character out of it, which is where it falls apart it's not a musical, because actual musicals were just stories where the characters would just start singing, and the song they were singing was original for that character, because it's sort of like what they would be saying if they weren't singing, you know?
Well, the whole point of the actual the musical production on stage is just to adapt, like to get all these cool rock songs from that era into a musical.
And
it's not about the story at all.
Real fast.
Which it just...
Laura's right next to me. Because I want to get, because she disagrees that it's like Glee, and so I'm going to tell you what Rock of Ages is about. Actually, I'm not going to tell you what story, what thing I'm describing, and you can decide if this is Glee or if this is Rock of Ages. So 2 young, attractive people are in love, and they're talking about, whatever, and then for some reason they'll say something like, "But I believe in you," and all of a sudden they'll go into "Don't Stop Believin'" by Journey, and that'll be the song they play. Or they could be sitting around, a classroom, and they could say, "Hey, people are talking rumors about you," and then they'll start singing Fleetwood Mac songs off of the album Rumors. So to me, those are exactly the same. What is different about those, Laura?
Well, first of all, the Glee kids, until shut up. Until halfway into probably season 2, all the musical performances were actually performances. They would say, "This week we're talking about Rumors. These are the Glee kids performing." It wasn't just thrown into the dialogue. And it's also, I didn't like Rock of Ages because I do not like musical theater style covers of hair metal songs, because I'm a hair metal fan.
But that's what Glee is. Glee is worse than musical theater style.
Balls.
Yeah. Oh,
Glee has
yes.
Leah Michele, who is a far better singer than anyone in Rock of Ages.
I don't care. It's still crummy covers by not the actual artist. Like, it's very rare that a cover is ever good. Like, you have to actually be a very...
I have all the albums, James. I can burn them for you. There's some good ones on there.
No, there aren't. I straight up will say, no, it's not true. Probably because most of the songs are not good songs to begin with. It's the same. It's the same as Glee. It is. The only difference is that, like, because they have more time on the show, you can start to like those characters, and so you can like them during the songs too. Whereas this movie spends so much time singing that you never like the characters.
I don't know. And I just thought like we're doing this, honey. Don't hand me the mic if you want it back. Not gonna happen. Well, and 2, I just like the whole like love story in Rock of Ages. I was just like, oh really?
Oh,
are you kidding me?
It's crazy corny.
Yeah, and like Glee, especially this season of Glee, I'm not defending this season of Glee was not good.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that this season really took a dip.
Like bad in a bad way.
How do you know, James?
it may have taken a dip. I don't know where it could go from like an entire episode of Lady Gaga.
Laura, you didn't explain to me how that's different from Glee.
Yeah.
It's different from Glee because it's more creative. It's less creative than Glee. The vocals are much better in Glee. Usually the musical stylings is different. It's not just a cover of the song. It's usually a different take on the song.
I will say this. I was actually kind of impressed that there were a couple songs that they sort of meshed together, and I was like, oh, they actually spent some time figuring out how to. Well, I'm just saying, they at least did something.
I'm just glad they didn't do a Kiss song, because I would have vomited.
Okay, back to my podcast. But I don't know if my wife is like in a different world than we are.
No,
it's exactly
the same. Dude. It's the
same.
same.
The one thing I will say, I think Tom Cruise is really good as the rock god, but the one love ballad between Alec Baldwin and Russell Brand was pretty amazing.
But tonally, completely out of place.
I agree. I agree. The movie was goofy as shit.
I mean, that's the thing. The reason I had such a hard time saying no, nobody should see this movie is that I think that there were times when I legitimately laughed at this movie, in the ways that it wanted me to.
Oh yeah, like when Tom Cruise tells her to open her mouth, he just sticks her tongue in it. It's just bizarre. And I even I thought when he re-met Catherine Zeta-Jones, she was acting so good, like he's the biggest rock god ever, and just by him touching her breast, she has like an orgasm, and just he exudes being cool.
One of my actually favorite moments is when Julianne Hough's character first sees him, and her feint, one of the coolest feints I've ever seen. Like she feints from her ankles all the way up to her head, like just like rolls forward. It was really good.
I have the same effect on people.
It's little things like that. I mean,
I mean, it's hard to recommend the whole movie because there's some parts that are really good, and then other parts just like, what the fuck is up with this movie? I think they're trying to be goofy, but then they're trying to be serious. I don't even know.
Yeah, there were parts where I was like, okay, you're getting at something that could be, in the same wheelhouse as That Thing You Do, but I would never, ever put this movie anywhere near That Thing You Do. I mean, and that's kind of what it wants to be. I mean, it really is.
Cool. So that's all we have to say about Rock of Ages.
I'll give her the mic.
I had more, but go ahead, finish
do you want to? What do you want to say about Rock of Ages?
No, I was gonna I thought it was so corny at the beginning that I tuned out and I almost fell asleep.
Oh yeah.
But then somewhere toward, I think after like Tom Cruise appears, like Stacey Jax shows up and he starts having all these funny moments and creepy moments, and so there's a lot of humorous stuff in it that kept me interested toward the end. I think the end wrapped up pretty well.
Yeah, I thought the third act was.
And I actually liked the original music, and I didn't mind the mashups. I thought they were pretty creative.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Tom Cruise really makes it more interesting once he gets on there. And then the phone call between T.J. Miller as the Rolling Stone editor and Tom Cruise trying to find out where Constance is at was just like the high point of the movie for me, because their banter back and forth is just so bizarre.
Yeah. And did you know
on Mike what?
Yeah.
Oh.
Did you know who the original Stacey Jax was before it was ever on Broadway? Like when they first did a production, it was Chris Hardwick.
Really? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I saw just a little clip of it. It was pretty cool. I mean, the sets are all awful, but it was pretty neat.
But yeah, it's hard to recommend because some parts are just so corny it makes you cringe, but then other parts are just laugh out loud funny.
I want to say it had a similar problem when they did the movie version of Rent, where there are some things that were designed for a stage and would not seem corny if it was on a stage and would carry much, much better. But when you, like, there's sure that the scene on the bus at the beginning, I'm sure on stage has a completely different feeling. A lot of it felt like it was forced to be in a movie and it wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah, I kept watching the movie, sitting there thinking, like, how would this look on stage? Because also the environment of the movie kind of has this, like, stage, like, the Hollywood sign, the whole cityscape feels like this CGI creation. But the Bourbon Room and the street that a lot of the protests take place on feels like a reality. So there's kind of like this, pseudo-reality going on around it that makes it feel like, okay, the Bourbon Room is the stage production. It just has all this fancy gloss around it to make it look like the real world when it isn't.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of wondering, like, okay, how would this be staged? And there's a lot of scenes, like with Russell Brand and Alec Baldwin, that just feel like they're reading a play. like lines in a play.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. A lot of the dialogue I thought was pretty stilted.
Yeah.
So it's not great. I don't think it's great.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry.
There's parts I liked.
Yeah,
it's
but I wouldn't
here and
tell
there,
anybody
yeah.
to see it.
You watch it for Tom Cruise. I love Tom
If
Cruise.
it were on TV. I mean, I love Tom Cruise, but not like this. I
So
mean,
the-
yeah.
The second movie we saw was That's My Boy, starring Adam Sandler. Brad, should people go see That's My Boy?
I love a good hard R movie, and this delivered.
Nice.
It's a hard R comedy, and this delivered. Very funny.
James?
Traditionally, I am not somebody who likes Adam Sandler comedies, except for the ones that are more dramatic, like a Funny People or a Punch Drunk Love. But I couldn't help myself. I laughed at this whole thing.
I was going to say, you were laughing pretty much throughout the whole thing, like me.
Yeah, and it's really stupid. If that is really not your thing, just avoid it. There's a chance it'll be like it is for me, where it happens to be the one that just hits you. But yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny, and I think you should see it because it's. I'll talk about it after we play the trailer.
Honey, we're gonna have the best wedding ever.
What do you think?
You look amazing.
Todd, your old man is here.
What are you doing here?
I don't know. Let's have a guy would miss his son's wedding. Only a huge fucking dick.
I thought you said your parents were dead. They are. Super dead. This is my old friend, Donnie.
So you actually knew Todd's father?
Of course I knew the guy. He was handsome. He had fucking great hair. A Jedi with the chicks. Went down on girls for a wicked long time because he was a giver.
Oh, I wish I could have met him.
Give me another chance. Get to know me a little bit.
You guys have fun at the bachelor party. Don't get too crazy. Know your limits.
We're having a bachelor party? This is gonna be awesome!
Welcome to your bachelor party package.
Woo-woo, motherfucker! Fucking last night of pool day for this kid. What the fuck is this?
It's water infused with cucumber, rose petal, and harvest sandalwood.
It tastes like fucking dick infused with balls. We can't let tonight end like this, boys. We gotta go out.
I can stay out a little later.
There it is.
Unless, Mrs. Ravensdale, you want to whip them knockers out, we'd love to see them.
Okay, you know what? You are an imbecilic, immature, asinine, childish, caveman-like, hairy-knuckled, single-chromosomal, obnoxious, uneducated, ignorant asshole who I would like to fuck hard and long!
So I'm gonna go put a dent in that. We're going out, boys!
Ever since you showed up, Todd's been acting like a different person.
That's my boy! I don't even know how to ride a bike. I promise you, I'll never forget you again. I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go. That's all you. I'm doing it. Yeah, buddy. Oh, holy fuck. Are you all right, buddy?
Dude, I'm trying to make love to my wife.
No. Fucking naked people.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
They're chasing me.
The cool thing is Adam Sandler really doesn't do comedies like this. Even though if you're a fan of him like I am and you listen to his CDs are a lot like this, where they take something that's way out of control and just keep on doing it. You know, there's parts in the movie. I guess he plays a kid who sleeps with his teacher and they have a baby. I'm sure you've seen the trailers, and his baby. So he's basically a really young man with a child, and he never grew up, and it's just really funny. And
it's the idea of like, what if a kid raised a kid, and how would that second kid, react to his father? Like,
exactly.
And basically, he disowns his father and changes his name and tries to hide.
Yeah, and they had a lot of cool little winks in it. My favorite running gag throughout the whole movie is him pulling a beer out of everywhere.
Yeah. He's got one in his dresser. He's got one in his boot.
Yeah.
While he's hanging on a ledge.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
And he always has to like juice up before he does something. Juice up on beer. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty silly, and you can't go in with it expecting some crazy heartfelt thing, but there is some pretty cool little things. And the funny part is that the movie takes, because this actually happened in Colorado, is a really big story of a teacher sleeping with a student, and she was vilified and everything. And this kind of took a different tone where what happens that did happen and the kid became a superstar where he did become a celebrity and everybody loved him but he spent all his money and he wasted it away and he wanted to get drunk and drive his Fiero. And yeah, I mean, really the only scene that didn't work for me in the movie was when Rex Ryan was in there saying how much he loved Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. It just seemed really forced.
Yeah, that whole
they're trying to be something silly and
the setup, like it has to be in there. Well, because it's all of the exposition for all of the motivation of the movie, but it was just too much. Like
one of my favorite payoffs in the movie though is when Rex Ryan tells Adam Sandler's character Donnie to bet on this fat guy in the Boston Marathon, and he has 8,000 to 1 odds. He's like, "Yeah, put $20 on him." He only has like $26 left in his account. And the whole movie goes along, and then, spoilers, the last scene of the movie is him coming into a bar saying, "Turn on the TV," because that guy's in the Boston Marathon, and this really fat guy is outrunning Ethiopians in a marathon. And he runs and he grabs a drink, and it's chocolate milk. And he falls down, and Nick Swardson is this crazy, cross-eyed hick. And he's like, "Get up, you fat fuck!"
Nick Swardson was so good.
I think Donnie says something like, "Chocolate milk, that'll make him, like..."
It'll re-energize him.
That'll re-energize him, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. This is the part where in comedies, like, it's all about the gag, so we have, like, almost nothing to say about it.
Yeah. But, the cool part is he, Andy Samberg's character was so embarrassed about his dad, but everybody loves him because he's really charismatic and really funny. And
I think one of the best things this movie has going for it is that it's got really good momentum, so that it's constantly moving on to the next thing. So like, if you don't like or aren't terribly entertained by the thing that's happening right now, they will move on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, now is the scene where they're introducing Donnie. Well, that's over. Now we'll move on to this part. Now is the scene where there's this part of the bachelor party. Now we'll move on to the next. But they don't waste any time anywhere. It's pretty lean.
Yeah, I agree. That's sometimes I think what comedies like that have to do. If you're not going to laugh at that, just keep on going. Keep on going. There's a really funny part about Adam Sandler's character thinking the grandma's really hot, and so he ends up like sleeping with her, and Vanilla Ice is his friend. And the next morning, Vanilla Ice comes into the room, and he's wearing her like swimsuit. Old-time swimsuit bottoms, and he's like, "I'm gonna go back to fucking grandma." It's just,
oh man!
And it was cool because I always thought Vanilla Ice was a douche, and
this movie made him kind of cool.
Yeah, because he made fun of himself.
Yeah,
like he plays Vanilla Ice, being Vanilla Ice, and he's a washed-up guy. But
he's working at like a bowling alley or something.
Yeah, but I guess in real life he made
nuggets.
a second living as a renovator, and that's what he does now. He renovates things. And there has a really funny joke. I'm sure everybody's seen the trailer where he has a New Kids on the Block tattoo that's stretched. And Vanilla Ice had one of himself on his back that was all stretched.
Yeah.
Just things like that made the movie pretty funny. So I thought it looked pretty good, and I'm glad that it delivered.
It's certainly better than any other Sandler movie that has come out since Funny People, probably.
I don't remember what's come out since Funny People. I didn't see Jack and Jill.
Grown Ups.
Grown Ups was pretty funny.
Yeah,
it was all right.
Yeah, I was surprised how much I enjoyed it because I was not looking forward to seeing this movie. But as I do with everything, I went in wanting it to be good, and it was.
Awesome. So we will draw names out of a hat now. Thank you, everybody who visited us at Comic-Con and filled out a raffle ticket.
We really appreciate it.
Next week, we're seeing... I'm going to try to see 3 movies. It'll be Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, Seeking a Friend for the End of the Earth, and Brave.
Ooh. I'm hoping that Brave will be the one we see Friday night, but yeah.
Probably. And welcome to the first annual Real Nerds Comic-Con raffle drawing. We're going to be raffling off 5 things. The first 2 things is from our sponsor, Birdman Barbecue. We have 2 barbecue sauces to raffle off. And then we also have a Regal Crown Card movie gift card that you could use at Regal Entertainment, which is United Artists, or Regal, I think, in Denver.
Yeah.
And we also,
if there's not a Regal in your area, I know some of the con people from out of town, so when you get the email that you won, just let us know that you can't use it, and we'll figure out another way to get you a movie ticket from that area.
AMC or something. And then we'll do, we also have Sherlock Holmes Blu-ray, but these are collector's edition steelbooks, and we also have the Dark Knight Blu-ray steelbook collector's edition.
Yeah, they're both really cool.
They are. They're really cool.
Cases.
Even if you own them, it's really cool to have these ones because they're cool cases. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. This is for a bottle of barbecue sauce.
Both are original flavored.
Yes, there is a spicy one, but we decided that you try the original because the spicy is spicy.
So the very first winner is...
Well, he just wrote Martin, but it is Martin at cosmictimes.net.
Cool.
His favorite movie is Avengers, and I'm guessing his favorite comic book is Voodoo.
Huh.
So, hey, thank you, Martin at cosmictimes.net. You have won a bottle of Birdman barbecue sauce.
I think I might remember him because I remember talking to somebody who said something about how hard it was to have a question on there about your favorite movie. And he was like, well, I can just put the one that I love the most right now. And he said Avengers. But there may have been a few of those people, but still, that's really cool. Congratulations, Martin.
Yeah, congratulations. All right. The winner of our second bottle of barbecue sauce is Corey Boggins. And his favorite movie is Batman Begins.
Nice.
That's a good choice.
Nice.
Good choice.
Avengers was good too.
Yeah. I don't know what it was.
Yeah. It's your boy 5000 is his email account.
Oh, dude, yeah, I totally remember that guy. He was really
people's
cool.
email addresses on the air.
I didn't say what part. I said it's your boy 5000.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I totally remember that guy. That guy was really cool.
Well, and the other guy, that is all he had on there. I didn't have his name.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So, Corey, thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, congratulations.
This is for the movie
I'm glad
ticket?
he won something. No, this is for the Sherlock Holmes. Right?
Yeah, this is for the movie ticket.
Oh, okay.
So this is for the movie ticket. I'm sorry, this person, you didn't put your email on here, but I love your favorite movie. It's Spider-Man.
Oh, shoot.
And don't worry, it was not my Spider-Man kids that I liked.
We made sure we got their email address.
Yeah. Oh, I know this kid too, but sorry, you didn't put your email address on here. Favorite movie is Green Lantern.
Shoot.
Ooh. It might have been someone else.
Maybe. Striking out here. All right, this is for the movie ticket. And Mark Lim, you have won a movie ticket. His favorite movie is Avengers.
Okay, so there definitely were more than one person who just put down Avengers. That's totally fair. Man.
And that's a movie ticket, so enjoy. This is for the Sherlock Holmes Collector's Edition Steelbook is the next one we're drawing for. If I can read and hold a piece of paper in my hand.
And a mic.
The writing, it's hard to read. It's like...
Screw it, write legibly next
time. No. I think it's supposed to be Manny Wheeler. Wheeler's definitely the last name. Yeah.
So, Manny Wheeler, hey, you won the Sherlock Holmes Steelbook.
Sorry if we butchered your name.
Yeah, sorry. Just couldn't make it out. But you won, and we'll email you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the Batman, The Dark Knight Steelbook goes to James Ousley.
Oh, man.
And his favorite movie is the Star Wars original trilogy and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, very cool. Even though I was excited for a second there, I thought maybe I won.
Hey, guess what, guys? You can follow us on Twitter, real_nerds. You can also email us, realnerds@gmail.com. You can like us on Facebook, and you can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com. So awesome. Thank you for stopping by our booth. I'm sorry for people who didn't win, but we really appreciate you took the time to fill it out. So all of us from the Real Nerds, thank you. You made it really enjoyable
And thank
at
you.
Comic-Con.
Yeah, absolutely. It was so much fun.
So until next week, bye. Wow. That's all I can say about Denver Comic-Con 2012. I am Ryan. In front of me is
James
and
Brad.
And this is our little wrap-up that we're going to do for the con, and it was an amazing week.
Unbelievable.
It's been a whirlwind 3 days.
It has. And coming in here, it was really difficult because I don't know if we
know exactly what we were doing because I signed us up for panels and we never got back to things. And as the week started going along, I was getting a little more nervous because I put in requests to do certain panels and it was just tough.
Yeah, we didn't quite know what was going to happen. And then of course Friday we get here and people start coming in and it just became something huge. Next thing you know, we got interviews with some of my favorite people here.
I know. Some really cool interviews, too.
Yeah.
Well, what killed me, too, is, we came in early on Friday, and we were just walking around, and that's how we scored 2 of our interviews with 2 people that we really respected in the industry, and that's Rebecca Isaacs and Georges Jonti, which we finally learned how to pronounce his name properly. And the one part we were worried about, his last name, we always pronounced right, and his first name was actually Georges and not George.
Which was amazing.
It was.
I went to bed Friday night, didn't think I was going to even ever fall asleep because I was so nervous and everything, and then we do that first interview with Rebecca on Saturday, and all of that went away.
It really
everything
did.
just started falling into place. Every time that we had somebody over here, it was perfect and fun, and handed out so many cards, met so many cool people.
It was really fun. I'm glad Brad had the idea of sit down at our booth and just talk to people because that really helped us connect with people.
Yeah.
And I
hate you guys weren't talking to the booth. It was dead. So like when people saw us talking to people, they were like, "Oh, what's that? What's going on? Is that person famous or not?"
And I think it started getting better as the show went on. Especially, we did a lot of interviews on the first day, but when people recognized what we were doing, then they really kind of sat down. I have a couple of favorite fan interviews. I loved the Not Literally Girls, who are the Harry Potter singers, because it was so unique and so different. I also have my personal favorite, and this is just the fans, is the 2 little boys who talked about Spider-Man, but not only talked about Spider-Man, but they had a history of Spider-Man. They understood stories, and to me that was amazing that they were 10 years old and knew stuff about Spider-Man.
Man, if only you had found your white whale before they came around. Because I didn't find the stuff that I was looking for because nothing here was contemporary, but you just landed it.
I did. I finally secured the Death of Gwen Stacy, a comic I've been looking for forever. And I honestly, I was really nervous the first couple days because they were really expensive here. And I found an amazing copy, and I was able to talk them down to a reasonable price. And I was able to score it, so that was really fun.
Oh, yeah.
Brad, what was your favorite part about Con? What are you taking from it?
Oh, my gosh. My brain is just a bucket of slime right now. I'm trying to remember everything that went on, but it's just so crazy. But I guess as far as, coming to get something, I managed to secure a bunch of the Archie Ninja Turtle comics that I wanted to round out in my collection with, save one, number 40. They didn't have it, so I still have one more comic to go find on that run. And actually, no, the best thing is I think that drawing that we just got of us as
we did get a sweet drawing of us as superheroes. Yes. Me, the supervillain, though.
Yeah. Well, no. You just got that angry face.
Well, I guess
on
I'm like, what's the hero who's like that? I'm drawing a blank right now. Sorry, I've done tons of interviews.
Anti-hero?
Yeah, and I did the James Marsters panel, which was amazing. He smells amazing.
He was so cool.
And he was so nice.
Got up there. Unfortunately, we didn't get the whole thing recorded and may not be able to salvage any of it. But
Michael Uslan. Granted us an interview, a producer of the Batman movies, and we didn't get to talk to his son, unfortunately. They were never at the booth every time I went to check.
Yeah, I think that they took today off for Father's Day.
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
But,
it
was really gracious of him. And it was so cool when we went to go see his panel ahead of time, and then we sat down waiting for him, and then he walks in the room, sits right down next to Ryan to, drop his bag, and then he turns like, "Hey, I know you guys."
Yeah, it was crazy
because
we went into his panel early and we sat down, and me and Brad went right to the front because I forget who was there before, something about digital comics. And so there was no one in the front row, so me and Brad just sat in some random seat. And as we're sitting there talking, I look to my left, and in comes Michael Uslan, and I'm like, oh, cool. And then he sat down right next to me. And I said, hey, Michael, we saw you yesterday. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm doing your guys' podcast after this, right?
Oh.
I mean, it's not like I didn't have to remind him that we were there, and
and some people might not know who he is, but I mean, he's so important to comic book movies, and he's a big Hollywood guy, and for him to grant us an interview is amazing.
And not just that, for him to remember you. Like,
yeah,
he's also important to just comics in general, because he's gone around with his college course that he did at Indiana University. He's also like highlighted those artists and writers who back in the day DC and Marvel didn't recognize. Like, they cut him a small paycheck but didn't give him credit. So he's done a lot for just the artists and writers from the Golden Age era who are finally getting their due.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience, and something I'll never forget, because I thought we did really well and we had a lot of fun.
Handed out we
handed out a bunch of stuff. We still have to do a raffle.
Yeah.
So we'll do, after this one, we'll do another wrap-up show when we do our real podcast. But
thankfully, no one showed up for the raffle part of it.
I mean,
so we don't have to actually do it right now.
Something should be said about the fact that we kept wanting to do the podcast here on the floor, and just it just wasn't going to happen.
We planned to do one a day, and we're only getting it to at the very end.
Because we were just, we ended up being so busy, and it's not just, fans sitting down. I mean, it's artists and creators and... and I even have a geek moment where walking back after I just came down from the high of doing the James Marsters panel, and I'm walking back through, I'm talking, and Rebecca Isaacs passes us. She's like, "Hi, Ryan." And I mean, it's just like, it's cool, because that's a contact you made. And, Michael Uslan told us, take every opportunity you get, kick in the doors, go talk to him, because you never know when something cool is going to happen for you.
Yeah, everybody was so nice. Everybody that we tried to get over here was totally receptive. I originally thought, like, well, I'd talked to Zach Howard online, and he said he'd do it, but probably we'd have to go over to his booth, and so we didn't bug him or anything, and maybe we'd get Rebecca, but probably not George's. All of them were just like, I will work with your schedule. We'll come to you, so it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and I felt so bad with George's, too, because we were trying to get Michael Uslan so bad, and then we ended up going here, going there, and we had to keep on pushing George's interview around. Instead of being a dick and saying, oh, these guys are nobody, he actually... waited for us. He's like, how about you come in early and I'll sit down before the con starts and we can have ourselves an interview. And he was here for 30-something minutes.
Yeah.
Not just hey, whatever. And he was funny.
Oh, he was
I loved
so
it,
amazing.
man. And I met everybody I met here, celebrities or whatnot, were the nicest people. James Marsters was so nice. Michael Uslan was so nice. Georges Genti was so nice. Rebecca Isaacs was so nice. Yeah. And, and it's our job to sit there and deal with these people all day long. And they did such a good job.
If you can hear in the background, they're counting down the official end of Denver Comic-Con.
Yeah, the Comic-Con is officially over.
Which means that the next time we will be here will be in 2013 with Stan Lee.
And Stan Lee is a guest of honor. And, we're one of the first podcasts to show up, so they said we're the official podcast. And everyone, even the Comic-Con people, were so nice to us. So thank you to them. I mean, I know it took a while sometimes to get back with the emails, but, I mean, they're so busy. Yeah. And they could have just said, you guys are nobody, but they gave us an opportunity.
When we're here and we actually see, like, the size of what they're doing.
Hey, buddy, I know you're wearing Spider-Man, and he's my favorite, but I have a Batmobile if you want it.
Do we still have...
Right on.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Man.
Have a nice day, guys. Go Spidey. So, I mean, even stuff like that. I mean, we're just talking and people randomly come up and talk to us.
Exactly. It's just been amazing.
It's been a really fun weekend. Hard work, but fun. And I want to thank my wife for being our PR person and being here all weekend long. Even though last day she really didn't do anything.
Well, honestly, today, other than running around, like, even when I was here, I was hardly ever, like, going out and talking to people because I was just so worn out. But
we appreciate it, and we had lots of fun.
You were amazing.
So, next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be back.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we'll be back one way or another. Especially even if we were only here in the same capacity we are now, we, might be able to talk to Stan Lee next year. How cool would that be? I'm just going to throw that out there.
You think I'll go up and ask him?
Well, you will meet him. We will both meet him one way or the other. That is for sure.
And you'll wear your Spider-Man hat, and he'll be like, hey there, Spider-Friend.
Yeah. And I'll say, Stan Lee, I like you. You have excellent taste, and that's all I want him to say to me.
Oh, gosh. This has been just way too much fun. And, like Brad said, when we start listening back to the stuff that we do have, and once we can, like, recuperate from what we've done, and I remember all the stuff that happened, it's going to just blow my mind.
Yeah, it's going to be
We did an interview with a guy who at one point said, I was at lunch, and my phone rang, and it was Joss, so I thought I should answer it. That happened. That happened, and my geek heart broke open. Yeah, I can't wait to go get some food and get some sleep.
Yep, but we're seeing a movie tonight too, and still have to do our normal podcast. So
and
don't go to sleep yet.
Two other things. First of all, anybody who's listening to this who was a volunteer here or is involved in making this happen, thank you so much. Especially the volunteers who came out and had to stand at the door for 2 hours or whatever, and not be out on the floor doing what they really would have wanted to do. You guys are amazing.
Yes.
And then, secondly, anybody who is listening, thank you for listening.
Oh, yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for seeing us. I mean, everybody was really nice, and we really appreciate the support. And I look forward to entertaining people longer, harder,
not
faster,
harder. Yeah,
stronger.
Yes,
stronger.
Entertaining people stronger.
Entertaining people stronger. Real Nerds Podcast. Entertaining people stronger.
Oh man,
keep reading comics.
Keep
watching movies.
Keep reading comics, keep watching movies, and you'll hear from us very soon.
And as always, bye.
Bye. And Brad saying nothing.